such a wonderful day for us to be here together, celebrating all of you and welcoming the first of its class, our top public schools of Los Angeles County. Let's give you all a round of applause. So first, let me start with social media. So we're hoping that you all will share your own excitement with all of your school communities. So please use our Twitter and Facebook hashtags. And share the love, share the fact that you're recognized and being celebrated here today. And so, as a daughter of Los Angeles, I grew up here in South LA. I'm a proud LA Unified graduate, a UCLA alumna, and also a USC alum. Got a little bit of a house divided situation. It gives me great pride to launch our top public schools LA event today. My name is Jeimee Estrada, and I'm the Regional Vice President of Innovate Public Schools. We are so thrilled to be with you today with our partners with the USC Center for Social Innovation at the Price Public Policy School. If I could get a hand wave from our partners at Price. Way in the back there, Caroline and Megan. And then also our partners from the School of Education, Rossier, particularly in the Center on Education, Equity, and Government. And so they are the center within the Rossier School that is working with us, but we also have Dean Gallagher, who's here today with us from Rossier. And so that's me. Skip that slide. Who we are. So Innovate Public Schools, our role is to celebrate success in education. And so what we do is that we organize families to advocate for better schools. We do research and policy work. We publish data that points to schools that are doing an amazing job, but also to the reality of the whole landscape and how all public schools are doing in a particular region all over California. And we've just launched our work here in Los Angeles about a year ago now. But we also work with educators, and we strive to build community amongst educators who are leading on implementing excellent practices in their schools. We support principals in doing redesign of schools to go from good to great. And so we work with some of the most important stakeholders in the education system, which are parents and community, the public, which has a right to know how public schools are doing, and then also educators, principals and educators in schools. So we touch all parts of the education system, and that's part of what Innovate's work is. And so as we do this work in particular in identifying schools that are closing achievement gaps, we feel that we stand in the middle right now of an increasingly polarized education space, where oftentimes we are not solely thinking about the needs of our students, right? And I know everyone here in this room is doing that, and that is why we're here celebrating today. Today we share and celebrate the fact that students in your classrooms are beating the odds. They're beating the odds. What you are doing, the way that you believe, the way that you prepare, the way that you create learning cultures for students and for teachers on your campuses, it shows that it's possible for all types of students and all types of schools to educate students at very high levels, and that is a very important job that you're doing. Unfortunately, that is not the norm. Almost 300 schools achieved this bar that we've shared with all of you, but that is only 15% of the low-income Latino and African American students in Los Angeles County. So we know that that's not enough. Of the over 1 million students, only 15% attend the schools that are celebrated here today. And this is why, because there are 300 schools, it is both not enough, but it's also showing that there are a lot of proof points. We are here today because we believe in the art of possibility, that in spite of the odds, that the people in the room believe that a child's zip code should not determine their future. And that is why we're here today. As we all know, there is no achievement gap at birth. We are proud to recognize you all for your diligent efforts to serve students despite the challenges. And in our report, I'm going to go through our methodology super quickly. You all got this information, but what I want to highlight is we look at absolute achievement. And not because absolute academic achievement is the only thing to look at. We believe that growth is also one of the most important measures, and all of you in this room, we believe, are moving students from when they come in dramatically to where they need to be in the future. We believe that that is also an important aspect of identifying high-performing schools. Unfortunately, at the LA County level and at the state level, that data isn't available, but we're hoping that next year that is also an important component of the methodology. We look at high performance, high participation, meaning in your schools, over 95% of kids are being tested in the groups that we're looking at, right? We're not leaving kids out of testing. And that the schools are representative of the students of Los Angeles County. And what we mean by that is that the proportion of Latino and African American students you serve is comparable to the rest of the county. And then we look at ways, red flags that we would remove schools for. Low dashboard performance, so those schools that are orange or red on the dashboard. We look at, and the reason for that is the dashboard measures a number of different things, but in particular it measures the change from year to year. So we're looking for schools that are in an upward trajectory. High suspension rates. We believe it's important for students to be in welcoming environments that do not have punitive practices, and we are proud to see so many schools in the room that are both meeting a high bar academically, but also on climate and culture, and the culture our students deserve. And then this is just more technical. I'm going to skip over that. That's just looking at grade levels. For high schools, we add a couple more measures because at the high school level, we believe that it's important to look at UC-CSU eligibility rates, so our kids passing A through G courses, and graduation rates, right? So those are fundamentally all of the parts of our methodology. And this is what we found. Of the 2,000 schools in Los Angeles County, starting with Latino students, 1,300 serve the statewide rate for Latino students, and 257 schools are top schools. These are the people in the room. For African American students, and this is a 19% representation of this. For African American students, we need to do better for both, but it is a particular crisis for our African American students at this point in time in Los Angeles County and all over the nation and in California, with only 6.5% of schools being a top school for African American students. We believe this needs to change. And to ground us a little bit more, and this slide is a little bit messed up, but I'll talk through it. To ground us a little bit more, the need is big. So in Los Angeles County, this graph shows the different types of jobs that are here in Los Angeles County. And there are a lot of low-skilled labor jobs that a lot of our students that only get a high school diploma or don't get a high school diploma that they're going into, that are about $20,000 to $30,000 in annual salary. Our students cannot buy homes and stay in this county with those types of salaries. Our kids cannot build sustainable futures at that level. And so we believe that our task is to actually create the next innovators, the kids that will create, the students, the leaders that turn into adults that will create the next jobs that will change this reality. And we know in Los Angeles County it's possible because our county is a very unique, very innovative, very incredible industry. And so I'm going to show you a little bit video to ground us in that context of Los Angeles County. as a Los Angeles County girl, it makes me incredibly proud to show that. But more so, colleagues, please take a look at the others around you at your table. Hello, say good morning if you have it, meet someone new. And then take a look at the rest of the room. All of us, every single one of us required a high quality education, required college degrees to be in the positions that we're in, to prepare us to do the work that we're doing. We all needed college degrees, and many of us, most of us, probably received degrees from the finest universities all over Los Angeles and California or in the country. We required that to be here. Our kids need that too to meet the demands of our county. And so in closing, I invite you to be proud of the work that you've done, because the work that is being done in the room is allowing those jobs, those creative industries, to have a diverse workforce. And know that you're not alone in this effort. One of the reasons to convene us all together is because you are not alone. There are many others that are on this journey with you. And what we strive to do today is to establish a learning community. So please meet new people, share your practices, share what you know, and hopefully you're taking some of those relationships with you today. Our top public schools LA list is the marker of equity in education. It is a new standard bearer of excellence, and you are the first class of schools. We look forward to seeing you year after year as your students continue to excel, and we hope that you share today's experiences with your colleagues that are not here so that we grow this room and we can't no longer fit on a USC site and we'll need to get even bigger, right? We want to make sure that this room is representative of all of Los Angeles. And so in closing, I would like to thank the Broad Foundation for its support of this report endeavor, and again, thank our USC partners for the research that we have embarked on together. And lastly, I want to introduce Dean Gallagher, who will be following up. A little bit of housekeeping. So we're going to have 2 more plenary sessions in this room. Then we'll be breaking out into sessions that are all actually on your name tags. You'll be able to see the session that you're in. And we'll be giving a little bit more instructions on that after the remarks this morning. And so I'm glad to be here with you all today. And just to share a little bit more about Rossier, we're so excited that Rossier is a partner in that Rossier is preparing many of the innovative teachers, principals, superintendents, assistant superintendents, the leaders of our region. Many of them are being trained by USC Rossier. So we're incredibly excited to have Dean Gallagher come and share some remarks with us.
This is the first time that this celebration has been held in Los Angeles County. And I want to be the first to congratulate the teachers and the principals for helping the students in their schools rise above obstacles and achieve at levels that surpass statewide averages. Your students are proof that it is possible when schools and communities pull together to improve learning despite the odds against them. Your students are proof that schools can be designed and run to give low-income students of color the high-quality education they deserve. I also want to commend Innovate Public Schools for spotlighting the schools here today and for pointing out how much work remains to be done. As the Innovate report notes, these 257 elementary, middle, and high schools are the exception, not the rule. It is crucial for all of us, educators, parents, community stakeholders, and policymakers, to understand why some schools succeed and others fall short of ensuring that all students learn and succeed. Innovate is exactly the kind of partner that the USC Rossier School of Education welcomes. Like Innovate, our mission is to achieve educational equity. Through research, policy, and practice, USC Rossier's faculty and graduates strive to improve learning opportunities and outcomes in urban schools, especially for students from historically marginalized communities. Graduate schools of education have a responsibility to help drive meaningful change in public education. One way Rossier contributes to this is by preparing educational leaders. During the past half century alone, and we are, by the way, celebrating our first century as a school of education. So during the past half century alone, more than 230 Rossier graduates have led school districts, including 77 current California district superintendents. Another way Rossier is making a difference is by rolling up our sleeves and plunging into the very hard work, and I know you all know this, the very hard work of developing a new model for high schools. I'm extremely proud that our first school is one of the 257 top public schools in LA County for underserved students. USC Hybrid High is a public public college prep charter high school managed by Innovate, a charter management organization created by USC. It currently operates 5 high schools in Los Angeles and Orange counties. And last month, another 2 were unanimously approved by the board in LAUSD, and more are on the drawing board. The Los Angeles Board of Education approved the charter for Hybrid High in early 2012. And that fall, the school opened in temporary quarters in the World Trade Center downtown. This week is particularly wonderful that this week we held the grand opening of our new permanent campus in the University Park campus neighborhood across from the Coliseum. We are now close to all the resources that USC has to offer and wants to offer, including USC undergraduates who can more easily volunteer at Hybrid High now that it's in our neighborhood. As we will hear in the breakout sessions later today, there is no one path to an effective school, no one-size-fits-all approach. But closing the achievement gap for low-income Latino and African American students has to begin with the belief that all kids deserve a highly effective school and all kids can learn. Hybrid High embodies that vision. Most of Hybrid High's students come from families that are similar to the districts our schools are located in. We serve first-generation, college-bound students from educationally underserved communities. About 1 in 10 of our students are undocumented. Hybrid High offers a personalized learning model, with the initial model developed by one of our faculty members that blends self-paced online learning with face-to-face instruction, a hybrid of traditional and 21st century approaches. Our mission is to prepare students to use their degree and careers to make positive multi-generational change. And the goal is to prepare every student for admission to a 4-year college or university, so everyone receives a customized learning plan that meets California's A through G requirements. All students are assigned a laptop, which functions as a dynamic electronic textbook that allows each student to work at his or her own pace and receive feedback from teachers in real time. Teachers have access to a rigorous curriculum, choose their own methods of instruction, and collaborate with one another to improve teaching and learning. They also rely on data, including the ACT and other assessment tools to fine-tune students' learning plans and track the school's overall progress towards the goal of qualifying all students for college. Despite the challenges facing Hybrid High students, they have achieved the results that I think are the envy of any school. The school has attained a 100% graduation rate for all 4 years, and 100% of Hybrid High's more than 400 graduates, including the class of 2019, have been accepted to at least one 4-year college or university. We are proud of these results, but we tell our students that graduating and going to college is not the whole point. It's using your education to make a difference for yourself, for your family, and for your community to affect positive multi-generational change. It's exciting to see that idea click with students and to hear their plans on how they're going to give back to their communities. We also believe our responsibility doesn't end when they complete high school and go on to college. When they go to college, we want them to persist and get a diploma. Some Hybrid High graduates are finding the transition to college difficult. We want to understand why. So a team of USC Rossier researchers is following the first 2 classes of hybrid high graduates to find out what the stumbling blocks might be, how the personalized learning model supports success in college, and if not, what do we need to change? So one of the most encouraging signs from Innovate's report is that the top public schools run the gamut from district-led schools to charters to alternative schools of choice. But as the report says, the top schools serve only 15% of the county's 1 million low-income African American and Latino students. How do we move that needle? It's incumbent on all of us to spread the word that moving that needle can be done, and you are all examples of that. Your exemplary schools can lead the way and inspire the changes to lift up the other 85% and enable them also to close the gap. We have to fight on for their futures and ours. Thank you so much. And now it is my pleasure to share a video profile of one of the top public schools being honored here today. Signal Hill Elementary School in the Long Beach Unified School District made the list for its success with both low-income Latino and African American students. Let's watch a deep dive into some of their practices.
What's special about teaching at Signal Hill is the sense of belonging that the students feel, which comes from the belonging that teachers feel.
It's that support, the camaraderie, the just being there for each other. We're like one big family. We all have very high expectations for our students.
We create a warm, caring atmosphere in our classrooms. Yet at the same time, the teachers hold kids accountable for their work, for working to their highest potential.
Some of the work that happened here at Signal Hill that has become a practice is getting into each other's classrooms and providing safe feedback that teachers can receive and take it back right into their classrooms. Now it's become just a regular practice where multiple teachers get into multiple teachers' classrooms. When we think about that work and that action plan and that action happening in the classroom and teachers owning that accountability to do the work, collective efficacy becomes very important. It's what can we do better to serve these subgroups of students who are in our classrooms from year to year.
Collective efficacy, personally, to me, means that I know that every single person here at Signal Hill truly believes that every child is capable of learning. Something that's very key is that we celebrate successes. I try to really create an environment where learning is contagious. What I hear is my students saying, hey, at least you got those questions right, or you'll do better next time. And one thing that just brings me great joy is when a student comes up to me and says, you know, Mrs. D, I think I'm getting the hang of this.
My job is to remove that self-doubt, to encourage, to praise, to get those students to believe in themselves, because what they believe is going to be what they achieve.
Not only do the teachers have goals, but our students set goals as well. And we're a very solutions-based school.
One of the great things about our school is that we have professional development cycles.
We take a look at what we need to target with our most struggling students, and then we formulate action plans.
We provide ourselves a good roadmap throughout the year by gathering formative assessment data, analyzing how kids are doing along the way. The students are actually part of the process of establishing their own individual learning goals.
The moral imperative of our district is clearly that every year we work very hard to close that achievement gap at least by 50%. The alignment that we created all the way down from the district's moral imperative to our school goals, to grade level goals, to classroom action plans for teachers, helped us define in an actionable way where the work was happening, which is in the classroom. The teachers owning that work and engaging in it daily with our students.
We have ongoing evaluations. We're always comparing data, looking at it, and targeting our most struggling students.
Data is collected all day long, from the observations of how they enter the room to what they're understanding in the lesson. Students are expected, if they're learning something, to show what they're learning through an exit ticket. And that's collected after the lesson so that teachers can see, where are my students at? The cool part about data is that it's not hidden from the kids.
We have 3 meetings that happen monthly. One is school site council. There's one for our parents who have children learning English as a second language. And then there's a principal meeting. It's always sharing with parents, data-wise, what is happening at school.
Teachers gather the day before school starts, and we look at the data. And so when students show up at the first day of school, because we've already have a sense of who they are and what they need, we're off to a running start.
Closing the achievement gap makes me extremely proud. It is a group effort. It's not just one person doing it. Collectively, together, we made that a goal and we accomplished it.
I'm teaching our future leaders. And those future leaders come from every demographic, and they should always be encouraged to represent in greater ways. And so how better to do that than to close the achievement gap?
The mission of Signal Hill Elementary is that students reach their greatest potential every day.
I remember the day when the scores came in that we had to close the achievement gap for our students at this school. It was the most powerful moment that affirmed that hard work pays off, and that when we believe in their potential and we work hard to raise the expectations, we can do it. It can be done.